What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. Right now, I feel like $100,000.
You are listening to Inspired Insider with your host, Dr. Jeremy Wise.
Dr. Jeremy Wise here, founder of InspiredInsider.com, where I talk with inspirational entrepreneurs and leaders like the founders you've heard of, some you've never heard of, like P90X founder Tony Horton, you may have heard of, but what you may not know is, Wayne, he made money as a street mime before he sold hundreds of millions of dollars. That's how he made money. He put a hat on the street, would do street miming, and that's how he made his food and rent money. Baby Einstein founder Julie Clark talks about growing her company to $20 million with 5 employees and selling to Disney, but she also talks about beating cancer twice. And Atari founder Nolan Bushnell talked about how when he was Steve Jobs' mentor, Steve offered him 33% of Apple for $50,000 and why he said no. So check out many more episodes on InspiredInsider.com. And this episode is brought to you by Rise 25, which I co-founded with my business partner, John Corcoran. And what we do is we help B2B businesses connect to their Dream 100 clients and referral partners by helping them run and launch their podcast that generates ROI. And for me, podcasting is a lot more personal. It's not just business, because my grandfather, who was a Holocaust survivor, him and his brother were in concentration camps in Nazi Germany, and they were the only members of their family to survive. But his words and legacy live on because of an interview, because the Holocaust Foundation did an interview with him, and I put it on my About page, and I watch it multiple times a year just for inspiration and appreciation and gratitude. So yes, podcasting will help your business, but it helps you and your guests leave a legacy of knowledge. And I personally credit podcasting to one of the best things I've done for my business and my life, besides meeting my wife, because of the amazing relationship. So we worked with Berkshire Hathaway companies, agencies, SaaS companies, any B2B businesses. So if you have questions, you can email support@rise25media.com or go to rise25.com. Wayne, I'm excited to introduce today's guest. We have Wayne Deehring. He's co-founder of USP Fulfillment. And for 30 years, they've done full service print production, fulfillment, and are a direct mail house. And they create and ship everything from books, promotional items. They serve up products for infomercial, speakers, events, and subscription fulfillment. And you've probably heard of some of the companies they've done work for. They work with companies like Costco, Sony, Coca Cola, Disney, Walmart. And they've even created and sent items for the Grammys and the Emmy Award shows. Wayne, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
I want to start off and how did you get in this business?
It's an interesting story. Years ago, a good 30 years ago, I was designing, just kind of goofing around on a computer, didn't really have any background in design, didn't have any formal training. And I started designing on a logo. It was a logo I was designing for somebody that had asked me, and they actually paid me for it. I had never been paid to do any design. I thought, this is sort of interesting. Started to go ahead and kind of market myself a little bit back then, and started making art for people. One thing led into another. From doing the design, the natural progression from that was people I was doing design for needed print. And I started actually by just going to wholesale print vendors and buying the printing and being the guy in the middle, and then reselling it to them. And then it was just a natural progression into the printing business. And from there, that led into the fulfillment side. And it's kind of run its course from there.
What were they asking you to print at the time?
In the beginning, it was just real basic stuff: flyers, postcards, nightclub flyers, of all things. I probably designed 10 or 12,000 nightclub flyers.
Wow.
Over the years. So, and was just doing that for quite some time. It was a good way, an easy way to sit at home and make money.
So you started doing design, and then they would request you to do printing. What was the progression? It seems
Mhm.
like maybe, like flyers. What else did you start getting into over the years? Because I know you do a
Well,
lot of,
from there, it just
yeah.
go ahead. Yeah.
I know you do a lot of things. So if you could talk about some of the progression and some of the things you actually do, probably because people requested you to do it, I imagine.
Yeah, that's really what it came down to. Is even today in this company, we have a kind of a mantra. We don't say no to anything. If somebody needs it done, we will get it done one way or another,
Mm-hmm.
even if we've never done it before. Which at this point we probably just about done it all. But what it was, it's from the natural progression in terms of the print. It
Yeah.
started with, like I said, the flyers. It started to get into other stuff, more customized pieces, booklets after that. Then it just
Mm-hmm.
really got into really anything they were asking for. If it was a custom folded, custom finishes, all this sort of stuff. And, that just kept on going. And as we did more, as I got more under my belt, more people were requesting, stuff through the years. You just sort of hook up with different people when you design. And I started doing a lot of Halloween stuff. I started illustrating items that were going to be made for Halloween props. So we draw them, and then I would take them out to Hollywood and the different special effects houses that did Lord of the Rings, Hellboy. Those special effects houses would actually make the artist masters, and then we'd send them out to China and Sri Lanka and different places to have them made into production pieces for sale for Halloween.
So they were actual like masks and actual products that people would wear?
Full props, not the products they wear. Imagine like a Halloween thing with a guy with brains coming out of his head or something. I'd illustrate that and then take it out, and the artists at these particular places would make it. It was a fun time. Halloween stuff is always, it's fun.
I think it'd be interesting to hear the evolution of the offices you had, because I'm curious the turning point, because it seems like there's some kind of turning point where you are using other facilities, and then you have to make a real decision to invest in equipment and space and staff and everything, which I imagine is a big decision.
Yeah, it is. It just gets to a point where printing becomes very competitive because it's highly commoditized. So it got to a point where being the middleman in printing wasn't working, and that sort of coincided with the internet becoming more ubiquitous and people using it. So the commoditization of printing and that made it where, in order to still make money in printing, we got into the printing business.
Yeah. So tell me,
and with that, bought the machines.
Yeah. At what point? Okay, you start off in whatever your bedroom, and then what were the offices? The evolution of the offices after that.
Well, it started off, at a home office, and then from there, it went to a more like an executive office, just so I could get out of the house. From there, then we started investing in different equipment. We actually got a retail location, and the retail location was more of a
just production.
That front end retail location. Yeah. Well, it was actually like a retail print shop.
Okay.
And started buying the equipment we needed and investing in different things in order to be able to serve the people that were coming to us. So,
and then is that what you still have today, or have you continued?
Well, we continue to grow. So yeah, we continue to grow. We have several locations, several businesses that we own that are all part of USP. Offices in Newport Beach here, another office in Santa Ana, where we make custom boxes, custom binders. we had to move out of the retail fronted space. We moved into a warehouse because at a point during the print, people started asking us to fulfill what we were printing.
Right.
And it really started more with the info guys. So we were making tens of thousands of courses for these guys. And then we were shipping them to their fulfillment company, and they asked us to start doing that. Was about 15 years ago. And so we got into a warehouse, moved the whole operation, and now we not only make the regular printing, the courses for everybody, things for all the different companies that you mentioned, but in most cases we fulfill that stuff as well.
Yeah, walk me through a use case. So let's say, whatever, back in the day, Zig Ziglar's on stage, he sells 1 million, of his courses, and then they will. Let's say you're producing those particular courses for that speaker or author, whoever, and then you will actually send that out on their behalf.
Yeah. So what happens is we make them, we warehouse them. They sit here. They're made and completely assembled, put into boxes. The orders come into our system from their CRM, from their shopping cart, whatever. Or in the case of, say, an event where he's on stage, they send us a spreadsheet, goes into our system. The orders are processed, labels are made, boxes are closed up, label goes on it, it goes out. We handle all the returns too. We check the returns for resellability, and it goes, if they're resellable, perfect condition, never used, they go back on the shelf, go back into stock. Otherwise, they're processed or given back to our client.
Tell me about the decision to do that, because I could see someone coming in and go, hey, I've been saying to the fulfillment house, but I just want to use you. And I could see you just as easily being like, well, no, this is our partner facility fulfillment. We just want to focus on the printing. What made you decide to? Because it seems like a lot of moving parts with the fulfillment side.
It is. My partner, Reza, and I, we really call ourselves, if you can imagine, back in the days of when circuses were real popular and you have the guy there with all the sticks,
yes,
with the plates on top, and he's spinning the plate.
Yes.
We feel like we're that guy. We have a lot of plates up there, and we constantly keep them moving. So to answer your question, yeah, it's part of that. We don't say no to our clients sort of mantra. They ask us to do it. We figured it out. And we just moved into it. It is a lot of moving parts. It is a lot of responsibility. Time to market is paramount, right? And if somebody buys something, especially in today's day and age, with the likes of Amazon and some of these companies where you order something right now at 10:30 in the morning and you get it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Later.
Right. So it's that sort of change in the landscape that prompted us to really get good at the fulfillment side of it, quickly process and get stuff out, because it's important to the customers, and and the people expect it now. It's no longer it's something where it was a novelty getting something very quickly, and it was nice. Now it's just an expectation.
Mm-hmm. What's the biggest challenge?
In most cases, orders go out the same. Or go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'd say in most cases, the orders come in and go out the same day.
I was just saying, what's the biggest challenges around the fulfillment side?
It's very laborsome. It's not an easy process. It may look easy. We're kind of like ducks on a lake. We make it look simple, but in order to make it all work and to flow, it is a lot of work. There's a lot of moving parts. It's not as easy as doing straight fulfillment. The print fulfillment is not as easy as doing regular pick pack fulfillment. When I say straight fulfillment, which we do as well. So we do e-com fulfillment for a number of companies out there. And that's real simple. You take a product that's already done, it's a single SKU, goes in a box or a bubble mailer or a poly mailer, and then it goes out. The print fulfillment, it is a lot more complicated, because one course may have 110 different SKUs in it. So, coordinating the whole part between all the print production and then assembly and getting it out the door and making sure that the QC on it is 100%, that's nothing's missed. It is an interesting sort of process the whole way through. So
what's some examples of e-com products that you fulfill?
So we do, there's a product out there that's very popular right now. One of our clients, Boom Boom. It is a essential oil inhaler, nasal inhaler. And it's that one, and they have a CBD line too, but they've done really well. They were on Shark Tank. A number of their videos have gone viral, so they push a lot of business through us. We do masks, scuba masks, with just a number of products, yarn of all things. I mean, I can go down the line. It's just stuff that's sold on Amazon. So we do individual pick pack, and we also fulfill it into Amazon as well.
Oh, nice. Okay. What do you use for systemization? I imagine there's so many steps with each one of these, and all the customers are kind of have their own preferences or individual things they need. Maybe you stuff a mailer in some, maybe not in others, or they insert. What are some of the ways you communicate with the staff so everyone is on the same page?
That's a great question. What's interesting about that is there wasn't a software that existed, and still it does not exist, to be a hybrid like we are. And what I mean by hybrid is a print house / fulfillment company.
Right.
So what we had to do was write our own system. We wrote it from the ground up so that it could be tailored entirely to us. So my business partner and I wrote this system. It handles the orders coming in. We have a lot of moving parts, different servers that handle these processes of these orders coming in, and then it goes into our system. Now, our system is set up where the production gets their production tickets. It tells them exactly what's in the course, as well as the system kicks out instructions for the shipments that go out. So the staff in the warehouse get those shipment requests, and they're able to see exactly what needs to go into each particular shipment that's going out. And then the quality control takes a look at it and double checks the order prior to it being closed up and being sent.
Nice. And I know you do a lot of things for events as well. And I just wanted to give, I think, a big thank you. I think a while ago when you and I were introduced by Vinny Fisher, I think at Fully Accountable, and then more recently, Carrie Nab, who heads up sponsorships at Traffic and Conversion. You do a lot of work with traffic and conversion and events in general. Talk a little bit about what do you do around traffic and conversion and other events that you work with? So
what we do for traffic and conversion is print just about everything that they need, and everything from, a printed item like their brochures or anything they're handing out that goes in your bag at traffic and conversion, to a large format printing, to the lanyards, to several of the sponsors making the booths, making all of their promo items, all of that sort of stuff. So that's with traffic and conversion, as well as we have a booth there so that we can talk to potential customers that need printing and fulfillment. Right. The other side is events in general. So we work with companies all across the scope of business out there, but primarily events have come down to info companies. So you have the companies, the likes of Fortune Builders and companies like that are out and doing events on the road. We handle everything for the events, from all the printing, all of the logistics of everything getting to the events, as well as whatever's left over, getting back and resetting it to go back out to another event.
How do you sound so calm?
And
I read on your website,
I know.
last year you supported over 3,400 events last year alone. And that's pretty amazing. I'm stressed out thinking about it.
It's systems based.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. It would be if there was no systems in place. But I am a systems person in terms of systems don't fail.
Yeah.
People do, but systems don't. So if you have the right system in place, you can rely on the system. So it's really when you have the right systems in place and you really look at efficiencies and KPIs and these sort of factors to determine what is the most efficient way to do this, and you create the system around it and it gets it out. So it does have a lot of moving parts. It requires quite a bit of work on the back end that people don't see, as far as making sure that stuff is picked up from these parcel carriers, from these events, making sure it gets back to us. When it gets back to us, it's a lot of work to go through everything, make sure that what's usable, what's not usable. All the while printing new items for these events and making sure that items are getting there. We, at any one given time, we have events that are shipping. We have events that are currently at their locations. Say today it's a Friday and there's a weekend event, and there's events on their way back to us. So it's, if you can imagine it in your mind's eye, it's sort of like just a big cog that keeps on just clicking, one click at a time, and everything does a circle and gets back to us.
That's amazing. What would be cool, it'd be really labor intensive if I watch like a time lapse video of like creating the logo to putting it on the thing to you producing it to ship. I mean, it'd be insane to watch that time lapse video of all the things that happened for it to actually show up at that event and then ship back. It's remarkable.
That's a great idea. I mean, that would be a great idea, just so they can see the work that goes into it. Because we have done that, where we create it from inception.
Right.
So from a customer just saying, I think I want my logo to look like this, or I have no idea. Yeah, they'll tell us, we just want these colors. So from that point,
equipment, or piece of product.
Exactly. Yeah. And so from that point, what we do is we, make it and create the whole design, get it out to the customer. Once that's all approved, we start making the course. And as the customers grow, not everybody grows. Some people are the size they're going to be, and some grow giant. So, but what we do is we fit it into systems we already have in place, and it works out. We've done this for a very long time, so we have a very good idea of how to make everything work. Yeah,
that would be really cool to see. A little bit about, I mentioned some big customers that you have and have had. What's one that was you're especially gratifying or proud of, based on maybe it took a long time to get them, or the type of project you did with them? I mentioned like Lyft and Sony and Coca Cola and Disney and Walmart. Out of the companies that you've gotten, what's one that's been especially gratifying for you?
Well, they all. I've been doing it for so long that I don't really, pay much attention after I've done it, if that makes any sense to you. My wife, I had done a project for Sony. It was a re-release of A League of Their Own.
I love that movie. Yeah.
And it was interesting because they called us and asked us to redesign a DVD box for the movie. Nice. Put a bunch of items inside of it that were part of this special edition, produce everything, get everything ready, boxes, everything except for the actual DVD itself, which was put into the box by Sony at their distribution facility in the Midwest. And we had approximately 1 week to do all of it. It was just a limited short run of and the design.
Wow.
So that was an interesting project. I'll tell you why. We had to come up with a design. We didn't know what to do.
That could take like 6 months.
They didn't give us
companies just to do the design of that.
Well, I had an idea in my mind's eye. So what we did is I had one of our female employees. I went and bought a baseball, and I had her kiss a baseball. Where I put on bright red lipstick, and kiss a baseball. Then I went up the street took my DSLR, went up the street. Just up the street from us is the Dodgers farm team.
Mm.
It's called the Quakes. Anyway, they're 2 blocks up. They have baseball diamonds all around the main field there. So took the baseball that was kissed and threw it around in the dirt just to get it dirty, look like it had been used, and take out my DSLR, can't get it to work. I proceed to drive around a little bit to find a charger for the battery. Nobody had the charger. So I got creative. At the time, I had an iPhone 7.
Right.
So I take the iPhone 7, I turn it upside down in the dirt, and I take about 40, 45 pictures of the baseball. From that real close up, almost with the bokeh effect behind it.
Right.
And that ended up being the cover of the DVD case. So it was a shot down the third baseline with that, and throw the logos on there, put some items in it. But what I was proud of that job was because we were able to do it. Again, we don't tell customers no, they needed this. I was still curious why they didn't handle it in-house with their own in-house designers, but they had us do it. And in that time, we also made the 25,000. It was just a run of 25,000. It was a small, limited edition, special edition run, and we fulfilled it as well. So we printed the boxes, assembled the boxes, put everything inside the boxes, boxed it up, and got it out. And we sent it with some drivers that drove straight across to Indiana where their DC is. So it was a quick project, but that's what we do. We've had people call us for TNC, for example. They called me less than 12 hours before the event started and needed 6,000 of something printed. And God. We did it. We printed it, cut, and I brought it with me when I drove down to the event. And we're known for that. We've never done any advertising. We are known, it's all word of mouth, and we're sort of known as when you have an impossible project, it's possible for USB.
That should be your tagline. I don't know if it is. I was looking at your website.
We played around. It's one stop, one solution, or, I believe because of what we do, inception to completion, because we really take projects from an idea to a completion.
Yeah, totally. How did Sony hear about you?
Well, I have a friend that is Jane Seymour's daughter. That is a friend of mine, and she was actually the one that introduced me to Sony. Okay. Nice. And we were working on some different projects here and there. And then, as I said, we do mailing, or we've done mailing in the past, and do mailing for a bunch of different people: the Grammys, the Emmys, the Academies, everything across the board.
You're like, they won't need this extra award. You have probably like a Grammy award on your mantle. Just like, we'll keep this.
That's funny. No, what we do, we send out a lot of the stuff as it's coming into award season. We were sending out all the members of the Academy or the different guilds. We'd send out the screeners and that sort of stuff. The letters talking about them where they can view the movie prior to the Grammys or the Emmys or the Academies. Yeah, all that stuff. They do not a lot of people know, but the studios do a lot of marketing to the Academy members that vote before they vote.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. That's smart.
I mean, so, and that's what this is. It's basically marketing to get them to watch the movies and that sort of stuff.
Well, if they don't see it, they can't vote on it, right? Or they can't elect it. So
right. How can you vote on it in good conscience, right?
Wayne, what's another cool project that you're especially proud of? The Sony one. I love that story. With the League of Their Own. What else? What's another cool one that you remember?
It's really all over the board. I've never given it much thought. Sony was interesting. We make custom boxes for people. Those are fun projects for me. because it allows me to get a little creative and, really, visualize something in my head and bring it to reality. That's always fun, and that's what design is. It's seeing something in your mind's eye and really putting it to to paper on the computer, wherever you design, whether you're illustrating or what have you. But
I know it's tough over
we do so many.
It's like, which one? I don't know if like you were walking in Costco or something. Oh, that's my, I don't know, something that's especially gratifying to see, like it from idea to fruition.
Yeah, it never. It's funny that you bring that up because my wife would say that. She was like, "That's so cool that we're walking in this store and what you produced is sitting here."
Right.
For a League of Their Own, for instance.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And she thought it was interesting, but once the project's done, I don't. It's changed for me over the years. Once it's done, I've done it so many times, thousands of times. We've made thousands and thousands of times.
To it at this point. Almost.
Yeah, I designed billboards. Not that that's any sort of a big deal, but it's once you're complete with the project, it just becomes a memory, and then you're moving on to the next one because we move at such a fast pace. So, it's just for me, that's what it is. It's different for my wife or friends that see things that I have done or see what I'm working on, because they find it interesting. But yeah, I've sort of numb to it, like you said. It's just there's so many projects going at one time.
Early on, where you felt it was a big break for you in the company? Maybe it was a project, maybe it was a company.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
No, it never was. It's just I look at it quite a bit differently. No, yeah, it's just for me, it's a design is less. All that part of the business is it's just like anything, right? It's with what you do or anybody else does. It's just what I do, and it wasn't anything that I ever I get excited for my customers, but for myself making it, never really. Nothing's ever. Not. It's just not for any other reason than because usually when I'm finished with the project, there's probably 30, 40 other projects lined up to go. So I just don't have the time to breathe. And along with the fact that I have 5 sons,
you know what I mean? Now's the time. That's what we're breathing right now a little bit. I'm interested in this. You did some work with Lyft. What did you do with Lyft?
Well, we send out all their new driver kits. We, make and design different things for Lyft. So it's interesting, but again, it comes down and people are like, "Wow, you do that." But for us, it's just another cog in the wheel, and we just keep on doing it. Yeah, we just put a system around it. It's interesting, with Lyft wants their stuff out very quickly. We created a system so the orders come in and they go out same day. And whatever our customers ask, I can't go back to that enough. Whatever they ask, we make it happen. There used to be a joke with us that if they ask us to do their dry cleaning, we'd say we'd probably do it. And they started asking us to dry clean certain things, and we do it now. So it's that never say no. What makes it easy, we're not the least expensive company out there doing what we do.
Yeah.
But where the value in our company is that you can make one phone call, one single call, and have everything done from the fulfillment, the printing, promo items, packaging, custom packaging, events, just on and on. Yeah. And we even just launched an agency type company where we'll handle their social media, that sort of stuff, because it's all part of the whole process. If we're making a look or a design or a logo or a brand for a company, for us to be able to make the other assets for the social media part and that, it's just a natural fit.
Yeah. Wayne, who do you consider? I'm sure you have a lot of colleagues. It could be a colleague. It could be a mentor. Who do you consider as influential on your, who do you go for advice and mentorship over the years? And it could be a colleague or just a mentor in general.
Well, over the years, over the last 10 years or so, it's been the guys from Digital Marketer, to be honest, and also fortune builders, guys like Dan Merrill, with Roland Frazier, Ryan Dice, Perry Belcher, talking to those guys. We are heavily invested in their success because they order a lot from us. So, and their success has been tremendous. So, using them as a mentor or relying on them as a mentor and asking for advice from them, those are probably the people I go to the most.
Yeah. I have one last question, Wayne, I ask. And first of all, thanks for sharing your stories. To you, they're commonplace. To most people, it's pretty amazing how your work reaches so far and wide with the companies you serve and the events. It really you're helping whatever, tens of thousands of companies, but you're touching millions of people. So to me, it's remarkable. To you, it's just what you do.
Yeah, I've never really thought about it that way. That's a great way to look at it. It's when you're so close to a project, the focus does not become. Well, you have to zoom in, if you will, right?
I get it, because someone is like, do this in a week. You're like, you can't focus on anything else but getting it done in a week. You know what I mean?
Right. So if you imagine like an image where you zoom in, and you're so close to it. A lot of these projects, we're so close to it. It's right in front of our face. So our focus is a very little part of that project. And I don't really ever zoom out enough to make sure the process goes, all the way
smoothly
through to completion, but never zooming way back. Yeah. Where you go, wow, I've never thought about it that way, but that's an interesting way to think about it. And if I ever had, 5 minutes to think about it,
we'll consider this your 5 minutes,
Thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah.
So I always ask, since it's Inspired Insider, two things. One, what's been a low moment, a challenging moment that you really had to push through? And on the flip side, what's been an especially proud moment for you in, decades of business? Because we all, as a business, there's always challenging moments and tough times. What's been a challenging time and how you push through it?
Well, the challenging times have been have not really been on the business side. We're in the service side, but it has been on the personal side. I have 5 sons.
Oh my gosh!
And two of my sons are twins. I have twins, and they were born at 27 weeks.
Wow!
So they were 2 pounds. They were in the ICU for 14 weeks. One of those boys has cerebral palsy. And as a result of being born that early, and cerebral palsy is basically brain damage. And so while, working, designing, managing some product launches while I'm sitting at Children's Hospital while my son's having brain surgery, those were some challenging moments.
But
the work is actually what helped me get through it. Yeah, well, the work is what helped me get through it, because it's, people used to tell me when we were going through, they said, you guys are, my wife and I, you guys are so strong. And I said, no, nobody that goes through this, you don't have a choice. There isn't, you don't have a choice to be strong. You're in a 3-sided hallway with the back pushing you forward, and you just, continue walking. So going through that whole process, that was real challenging, but work is what actually kept my mind on a singular path where you don't dive down into the negative of everything that's going on around you. So I was able to sit there at the hospital while all of this was going on. And he's had 5 brain surgeries. He's had 12 or 14 surgeries by this point. But, and after the 3rd or 4th brain surgery, which he's fine now, he's a very intelligent boy. He has cerebral palsy. He's in school. He's a great kid, but he, going through all that I was grateful to have the work, because that's what kept me sane.
Wow. So what is the day in the life when you get home, or before you get to the office and in the evening with 5 sons?
That many kids. Well, so my oldest child, he's out of the house now, but the other 4 are 10, 10, 9, and 3.
Oh my gosh.
So a typical day is get up very early, which I do
Okay.
naturally. I go to bed about 8 o'clock at night, and there's a reason for that. But I go to bed about 8 o'clock in the evening, so I get up very early. Get up. I let my wife sleep in a bit. I get the kids, the 3, ready for school that are in school. Get downstairs, feed them breakfast. Meanwhile, my wife comes downstairs. She gets their lunches ready. I get them loaded up, take them to school, come to the office, do what I do all day. And there's a running joke here at the office that I come to work to escape the chaos at home. But
it's no joke. It's the truth.
Right. So then my wife picks them up. I get home. I hang out with the boys. We talk about their days. We do that sort of stuff. They've already had their homework done by the time I get home.
Yeah.
Typically, the older boys, or 2 of the older boys, bathe themselves. My 10-year-old with cerebral palsy needs help, so I usually bathe him and my 3-year-old, and that's kind of our time where we talk and chat. And then the reason why I go to bed is it's just a nightly routine. My 3-year-old, after he's got his pajamas on, he comes and lays down with me, and that is like probably the single greatest sedative in the world, because when he lays down with me, I fall asleep with him. So
right.
And then I wake up, put him in his bed, and rinse and repeat, every day.
Thanks for sharing that. That's pretty amazing.
So, yeah, no worries.
So when's number 6 coming? No, I'm just kidding.
No more.
No more? Okay.
I was never the guy that was going to have 5 sons. I was just never that guy. And, I'm glad I do have 5 sons. But outside of that, we decided, that was it.
Explain to me. Yeah. I mean, come on. After like 2. What about on the flips? Thanks for sharing that, Wayne. On the flip side, what's been an especially proud moment? It could be business or personal.
The proud moment is just with the kids mostly, that they're they turned out good. It's challenging, and what I mean by good is just all the issues we went through, from them being born so early. And like I said, they're both on the autistic spectrum. So and they've had 6,500 hours of therapy.
Wow.
But they've had literally therapy since they came home. And just, that the fact that they're well adjusted and given everything that they've gone through, that's really it. My kids are my greatest, as far as I'm concerned, my children are my greatest achievement.
Yeah, totally. Well, thank you. I appreciate you sharing your story, and I appreciate you sharing, because that's the reality of life, right? It's people see the business stuff, but like there's this whole universe that people don't see. It's like when you go home and you come back to work, it's this whole world, which is the most important world. So I appreciate you sharing that.
Right. And it's the bulk of your day, right? Yeah. Between sleeping and your family, that's the bulk of your day. And this little bit of work is, and I have an amazing wife that allows me to be me and do what I do. And so that helps as well. If I didn't have that, probably things might be different, or things would be different. So
what are some lessons you learned from your wife?
She's calmed me down, really. I am by nature an anxious person.
I would not.
So always moving, always doing something. Yeah, right. So she's really grounded me. That's really what it is. And she's the polar opposite of me. I'm a type AAA personality, and she's very laid back and very easygoing. And it's a good offset for me, because if I had somebody that was just like me, it'd probably be war all the time.
What about with your business partner? Is he more calm, or is he more type A like you?
Oh no, he's very calm, very diplomatic. I am the polar opposite.
Okay. So he balances you out in the work life.
Yeah, he really does. In here, which is funny, he's very diplomatic about things. I'm not. I don't. We do so much that I don't have time for diplomacy with my employees, and they all know me, and they've all been here for a long time. But they, I don't have time for diplomacy. Things have to get done. Yeah, I don't pull punches, and I don't sugarcoat things because there's no time for it.
Yeah.
And, so I think that the two of us together really balance it out well.
Cool. Wayne, I want to be the first one to thank you. I really appreciate it. Everyone should check out uspfulfillment.com. Check out what they have going on. Wayne, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I feel like $100 grand.